Hey, welcome to the next episode of Connor and a Half, or the College Football Junkies. My name is Mark, my co-host Montana. It has been a while. Life has gotten super busy, but we're happy to be back. Um, let's start things off. This may be a little bit of a shorter episode tonight, but obviously Montana and I are Husker fans. We haven't talked for several weeks.
It's been a lot of stuff has happened.
A lot of stuff has been happening. So we're gonna start off, with a little Husker heavy segment. Just breaking down the 7 games that we've had so far. You start with that win against Cincinnati. Cincinnati is looking like a super good win at this point. Cincinnati right now is sitting at 6-1. They're number 21 in the AP poll. And they're looking like they could be a potential force in the Big 12 this year. Brendan Sorsby is absolutely balling out. He should be a Heisman contender at this point in the season, and he might be on a few lists. You got your games against Akron, Houston Christian, where you got everybody in the roster involved. You lose close at home against Michigan, but that game, was the first, of many. I guess you can kind of throw the Cincinnati game in, where you saw the resolve that this Husker football team had after, overcoming adversity. On the last drive against Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby was really running the rock pretty good, and they were moving the ball, and everybody in Husker country was like, man, this is not good. We've seen this story before, and then Malcolm Hartzog gets the game-sealing interception at the end. And then Michigan, they kept on battling the whole time. Nebraska gets down 10-0 early, and if this was a Nebraska team from 5 years ago, they easily would have folded.
That would have been it.
And that game could have gotten really ugly. But Nebraska kept fighting. They went into halftime tied at 17 after a amazing Hail Mary just before half. They then play Michigan State the next week. They ended up winning pretty decisively over Michigan State, and then they overcame, again, a bunch of adversity, showed off the resolve against Maryland. Dylan Raiola, he didn't play bad, but he had 3 interceptions. You can't have 3 picks if you want to win most games. But they pulled it out. And then there's kind of the anomaly here with the Minnesota game. They went in with the absolute wrong game plan, and the players have been talking, all this week, going into that game, they thought they could just go in and wallop Minnesota because it's we've got more talent, which that's true. Nebraska has the more talent, but they needed to go into that game with a more level head, because they're not at that point yet where they can absolutely go out and say that they can absolutely kill somebody. So I'm going to say that game's a little bit of an anomaly right now. What are some of the things that you've looked at so far this season that you really like, and what are some reasons for concern for you?
Well, like you said, that Cincinnati game looks really nice right now. I wasn't happy with it. Most fans weren't fully content with it just because of how it looked and the score and whatever. But for me, our next couple of games after that, it reminded me of games that I used to go to when I was 12 to 13 to 14, when we would just absolutely whoop the first few opponents and it wouldn't even be close. It would just be a showcase of the entire team's talent. That's how it felt like. Michigan, for all the mistakes we made, because we did make a lot of mistakes in that game, for all of the mistakes we made, we only lost by, 3 points? We only lost by 3 points. And you could argue in a different universe, we win that game by a few points. So it definitely wasn't a game that left me feeling discouraged, but it's all about how you react to a loss. And how do we react? We came back and we beat Michigan State, and then we had another big win. For me, it's how can they react to this loss? They play Northwestern tomorrow. We'll break that game down a little bit. For me, it's can you come out and whoop up on Northwestern and look like the team people thought you were again, because I think they can. But then Northwestern's kind of sneaky because they've had a little bit of sneaky success in different parts, different games this season, but they're not. I mean, you said it best about when we're talking about Minnesota. Nebraska has, I don't want to say 10 times the talent as Minnesota, but they have at least 5 times the talent as Minnesota. Nebraska is finally a team that has the talent and it's showing on the field. We don't just have the talent and the recruits and the pieces. It's actually working. Stuff is actually starting to form and work on all sides of the ball. I've been very impressed with all sides of the ball this season, more content than I've been in a long time. So for the most part, even despite a couple of not great losses, I'm happy. If we lose to Northwestern, or it's a game that is decided by a field goal or a late score, I won't be quite as happy because you got to remember, we have USC. We have Penn State. Penn State's dropped some head-scratching losses. Is it 3 in a row now, or is it just 2?
Penn State, they've lost 4 straight. They started.
Oh, my God.
4? Yep, they've lost 4 straight games. Let me pull up their schedule super quick.
No, pull
I'm
it up.
pretty sure it's 4.
Penn State is a team that is, but I mean, still, it's Penn State, and you're playing them in Penn State. You're playing them at home. That's not an easy venue to win at. Iowa's a game that's always tough for us, always gives us trouble. And now I'm going to be completely honest with how UCLA is playing in the last couple of weeks. You've got to look at them too. You've got to keep your eye on them. So every one of our games remaining, except I would say Northwestern, is a game that I'm not worried about. I'm not sitting here saying we're going to lose, but tomorrow's game to me is going to determine how the rest of the season goes. Because it's all about coming back and having a game that's kind of a statement, and because we were ranked for the first time in how many years? You know it.
Well, we were ranked for a little bit last year. So for the first time we were ranked since last year.
Were we actually ranked last year?
We were ranked against Illinois and Northern Iowa.
Before then, how long had it been? It had been
so being ranked in October, you have to go all the way back to 2016.
So we had a little bit of success, but for me, this felt different than even last season. For me, where we were at, even with that Michigan loss, it felt to me like we were better than we were last year. Raiola looks a lot better. Now, again, you could look at the number of sacks that have happened in several different games on the offensive line, or you could look at it. And sometimes I was at the Michigan game, and where I was sitting, I don't know. He does have a very good pocket presence, and he's really elusive. But he also runs into sacks sometimes. Yep. He does run instead of like I think he could. I don't know. To me, I feel like they need to work on that because that was super big in the Michigan game, and then in the Minnesota game we saw it again. So the running into sacks and kind of making maybe the wrong move in the pocket at certain moves or certain moments has been one thing I've noticed, but Dylan Raiola looks nice. He has looked very nice. He has looked improved. He looks like he's growing as a player. The development of a quarterback from year 1 to 2 is super important. So I am extremely happy, but tomorrow's game is what's going to determine how I really feel. So what are your thoughts about that? How are you feeling about tomorrow? And are you going to the game? I meant to ask you before we went live.
I was thinking about it, but I've got other stuff going on tomorrow, so I can't go to the game.
I was gonna say my mom has an extra ticket, bro.
Oh, man. Actually, I don't know. I don't – maybe. I don't know. I'll have to let you know on that.
Well, if so, you get a preview of what the Iowa seats are going to be, so.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll have to let you know here probably after the episode. We'll see what I've got going on. But, the Minnesota loss, it was a little disheartening in a way because, over the course of the season, you saw how much resolve this team had. Something bad happened, this team fought back, and they were never really out of it. They were out of it in Minneapolis. And Minnesota, I'm pretty sure Minnesota has this game circled every time they have Nebraska on the calendar. Because I don't know if you've seen it on like Twitter and stuff, but there's like major disdain that Minnesota has for Nebraska. They absolutely hate Nebraska. I think they hate Nebraska more than they hate Iowa at this point. And Minnesota came out and they played their game. I mean, they controlled the ball. They had a 17-play, 98-yard drive in the second half, which was an absolute killer. You had numerous moments where you could have stopped them on third down, but they didn't. And they allowed leaky yardage. They didn't tackle very well in space. But I don't think that one game is the definition of this team. I still think they're a really good football team. And you watch all the, press conference stuff from this week. They're pissed off. And Northwestern just happens to be coming into their house tomorrow. And Northwestern, they're very sneaky in a couple of different areas. They run the ball 60% of the time, and they're averaging just over 4 yards a carry. They have one good receiver that could be a matchup nightmare. If I were Nebraska, they've been getting beat on a lot of the outside zone runs, outside the hashes. I hope they focused on that because Minnesota's going to try and throw some of those wrinkles in play, or Northwestern, is going to throw some of those wrinkles in place to potentially gash Nebraska on the outside. Nebraska's going to have to tackle well tomorrow. They cannot allow Northwestern to have sustained drives. On the offensive side, Northwestern has a pretty stingy defense. I mean, they played Purdue last week. Record-wise, Purdue is not great, but they've had a pretty good offense. They've been scoring on some teams this year. It hasn't always shown up in wins, but their offense can score, and Northwestern shut them out.
True.
Nebraska's got more talent than Purdue. Nebraska, on paper, should be able to move the ball well, but they need to get Emmett Johnson more touches. I think Emmett Johnson, Nebraska's running back, needs to have more touches this game. He's the number one running back in the Big Ten in terms of yardage this year. You need to feed him the rock. As far as helping Raiola out, yeah, you just got to eat. Just got to eat. Eat those yards.
For real.
As far as Raiola goes, Dana Holgorsen needs to get him into the quick game. Get your receivers into space. Northwestern doesn't play a lot of man-to-man. They play a lot of zone coverage. If you run slant routes and other crossing routes over the middle like a mesh concept, you should have space to move the ball through the air too. You should be able to have a balanced attack tomorrow. You cannot go away. If Emmett Johnson's averaging over 5 yards a tote tomorrow, you got to keep feeding him the rock. Northwestern does not have the depth. If you wear out Northwestern starters, they don't have the depth to keep up. Nebraska's just going to be able to keep gashing them on the ground. That's key number one. Key number two, make life easy. Pat Van Husker losing by 21 tomorrow. Oh, that's terrible. I hope not. Otherwise, Matt Rule might not last until Sunday. But again, make life easy for Dylan Raiola. Give him the quick game. If you start hitting him across the middle of the field, making your receivers make plays, things are going to open up downfield because you're going to suck the safeties up. The safeties are going to be up, trying to account for the crossing routes across the middle. They just got to go with a level mindset, and they should be able to win this game. I think they're 8.5-point favorites tomorrow. They should be able to win this game by 10+ points if they go at it with the right game plan.
It should be a 2-score win. I don't care if that's a touchdown and a field goal, 2 touchdowns. It should be a 2-score win. I expect, to be completely honest with you, not that we're throwing around a score prediction, but I'm going to throw a little bit of something around. I've got the Huskers winning. Give me 31 to 14 or 17. I'll give Northwestern 2 scores, two scores, and then a field goal throughout the game. But I think Nebraska controls the pace the entire ball game. First of all, you've got to remember it's at home for them, and they have looked so exponentially good at home this season. Again, they've reminded me of teams that I saw when I was a kid that just took care of business at home every time. Even going back to that Michigan game, they almost did it in that game. They looked like a team that
they gave themselves a shot.
Exactly.
They gave themselves a shot with 90 seconds left. All they had to do was recover the onside kick.
Exactly. That game, to me, and we're not comparing losses. I mean, we could. The Minnesota loss is obviously far worse of a loss because at this point in the season, I felt like we were going to take care of business. But I also, a lot of people on social media and just in my life were saying Nebraska's going to get upset by Minnesota. And like you said, to your point, they've had our number. This is a team that we have struggled to beat since we joined the Big Ten. And so it makes sense that we struggled.
You listen to a bunch of, the local pundits, coming out with their record prediction. A lot of them predicted 8-4 to 9-3. And most of those people, one of those losses on most of those people's ballots when they came out with those predictions was Minnesota.
A lot of people called it even before the season started that Minnesota because like you said, they've had our number. That's why people can say that. They're a team that has had our number for pretty much our entirety of the Big Ten.
Yes, 100%. So it's like at the end of the day, I'm pissed on how it happened. I'm not pissed that they lost. Yeah. I'm pissed on how it happened.
Me too. I'm with
this team is pissed off. And they practiced like they were pissed off.
That's how they played Michigan State. That's how it looked to me. They looked pissed off. They looked pretty determined against Michigan State. So I wouldn't expect anything. I would expect more. They lost by how much did they lose by? 30 points, 31 points?
So Minnesota beat Nebraska by 18.
Oh, I didn't even watch the game. That just shows how much I know. I thought, okay, come on.
But they all this week in their media time, they're pissed off. Matt Rule's pissed off. Dana Holgerson's pissed off. John Butler, the DC, is pissed off. All the players are pissed off. We're gonna see a pissed off Nebraska team tomorrow morning, and it's an 11 a.m. kick. They have an opportunity to go out there and absolutely make a statement. And guess what? Guess what game you have looming the following week? You've got the blackout against USC, which, by the way, is a night game. If Nebraska goes into that game at 6-2, that game instantly becomes bigger. That's a de facto college football playoff eliminator.
Absolutely.
Because the winner of that game is going to have a sneaky shot at making it. So again, we're gonna see a pissed off Nebraska team. I think they make a statement tomorrow. I really do. My prediction, I've got them going up 38-17. I think they win it by 3 touchdowns. I think Nebraska is going to start the game and they are going to control the line of scrimmage all 4 quarters. We're going to see the most complete game Nebraska has played to this point in the year.
I like that. I hope so.
I really do. Like if they're as pissed off as I am saying they are, there's no reason why this game is going to be close for very long. So, and again, Northwestern doesn't have if Nebraska gets things going both through the air and the ground, Northwestern doesn't have the athletes to keep up.
No, they don't have an answer for they don't have an answer for the talent Nebraska has. The only way Northwestern will have an answer is if we get in our own way. And to me, we really have not done that in a full game, except for Minnesota, it looked more like that to me than any other game. Even Michigan, we got in our own way, but we got out of our own way easily. I mean, that Hail Mary you're talking about in the end zone to end the first half, that was a huge – we would have never had a touchdown or a play like that within the last 4, 5, 6 years before this one. Even last season, I don't think we would have had that type of play. I don't see that. The talent Nebraska has now and the way that we're using that talent and the way that that talent is growing, I still think we're winning 8+. I really do. I still feel confident in this team. And I think tomorrow, like you said, is that confidence boost for everybody.
If they go out tomorrow and make a statement, I kind of feel good about that USC matchup. USC got gashed against Notre Dame the week prior, and that game wasn't even really as close as the score may have indicated. Notre Dame dominated USC. There's going to be stuff there that Nebraska could take advantage of at home on a Saturday night on NBC in front of it's a national audience. It is a big game. It's a blackout. Nebraska goes into that game at 6-2. That atmosphere is going to be so electric on the 1st of November.
It's probably going to be the most electric it has been in a long time, because even though we have lost a couple of games, to your point, if we have the game, the 38-17 or something, if we have the game like that, or even the one that I had, which I think was just 1 or 2 more scores less, I really, really feel like we're going to have a different level of hype. I don't think the Minnesota game, as disappointing as the score looks, it was so disappointing. I thought we lost by 30+. It wasn't as bad as I thought. But even though the score is disappointing, this is not a game that takes away where we're at. I feel like we're still moving in the right direction. And despite all the media around Rule and Penn State, and just despite all us losing our rankings, everything, just all that aside, I think Nebraska still is the best they've been in 6+ years, easily. I don't think it's even close.
We were just talking about Rule and the Penn State rumors and stuff like that.
Let's get into it.
I was saying that was a really good segue. What I'm going to say about it, all these rumors, I get he's an alum.
That's a big reason, I would say.
Penn State is in a place right now where they want to win a national championship. They don't need another freaking rebuild. Yet Matt Rule is on this laundry list, potentially, according to the media pundits. They don't know it for sure, but they're just labeling Matt Rule as a potential candidate. It pisses me off. In my opinion, what it should be, there shouldn't be any noise around any coaching candidates whatsoever, because it is an absolute distraction to the respected football teams that these coaches have. There should not be any of this shit stirring across, the internet. There should not be. Because guess what? Players are on the internet too. They see all the noise. And they're told to shut it out. But until something is said by the AD of the school searching for a coach, none of it needs to be going around the internet. It is an ultimate distraction. It ultimately pisses everybody off. I don't think Rule's going to Penn State. Again, Penn State's looking to go for a splash hire at head coach because they want to win a national championship. They get Matt Rule, they're looking at a 3 or 4 year rebuild. Matt Rule is going to be tearing apart that roster. Yeah, Penn State has recruited pretty well, but he's not necessarily going to go in there. Hell, he could go in there and he's going to be another James Franklin who, again, may win 8, 9, 10 games a year, but he's not going to win the big ones. Why the hell does Penn State want to go to a James Franklin 2.0? James Franklin was a good coach. I am not disregarding him in any way. He got Penn State in a really good spot.
We'll just swap her. We'll just take James Franklin. We'll just do a coaches swap.
I would have if something like that were to happen, I would take James Franklin, man.
He's a good coach. He's going to get a great job, whether it's an analyst job. I think it's going to be a coaching job. Whatever it is, he'll get a great job. To your point, though, I mean, you made a great point, not to cut you off, but Matt Rule is a rebuild coach. You know how you play a game like college football or even Madden, how there's different kinds of coaches you can pick. He's a rebuild coach. He is a team building coach. That is what Matt Rule does. Don't expect him to come in and make you a 12-win team right away. He builds programs up. That is what he is known for. Penn State doesn't want that. Exactly. I mean, you said everything that I was going to say. Penn State wants a win now coach, and Matt Rule is making Nebraska a team that is winning now. But if he went to Penn State, I don't think he would have the same success because he has built this program up to where it is right now. And so going to a whole other team. No, go say it.
There's absolutely no guarantee that Rule's going to go to Penn State and he's going to succeed.
Not zero.
I say the odds are better that he probably gets fired from Penn State before anything happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
because they want to win now. They wouldn't give him the time, I don't think.
I'm so happy we're on the internet right now. We're not on the radio because I could say whatever I want to fucking say.
That's true.
Rule is so damn happy at Nebraska.
I hope so.
He is he went on the Pat McAfee show and pretty much squashed everything. I don't know if you saw his clip, and I wish I was in a position to pull up the clip onto the stream. But he's at a point now, he's like, we've got the youngest team in the Big Ten. He's like, imagine how good we're going to be next year when these kids grow. He's like, I'm not thinking about next year yet. Mm-hmm. But just think, if we finish this season out strong, think of how good we're going to be with the people that we have, plus the incoming recruits.
And I think that is the biggest key is finishing the season out strong.
One of the biggest quotes from it, his whole interview with Pat McAfee, he called Nebraska a destination job. Lincoln is a great place. This is not a jumping off point job like the Baylors, the Temples, the UCFs. Like, I can rattle off probably 100 other the football teams. Nebraska football is a destination job. You want a coach to stay at Nebraska because of all the history Nebraska has. Oh, by the way, Nebraska opened up a brand new football facility 2 years ago. They have some of the best football facilities in the country. You've got everything at your fingertips at Nebraska to bring in high-level recruits. You've got a top-of-the-line training table. Mm-hmm. You've got top-of-the-line chefs that cook for the players, making sure they get all the nutrients that they need in their meals to keep them in shape.
Absolutely.
Like, you've got everything here. And the fact that Rule said that Nebraska is a destination job should ultimately take him out of the running, because unless Nebraska fires him at the end of the year, Rule is going nowhere. As long as Nebraska is going to have him, Matt Rule's not leaving. And I'm going to die on that hill. I will preach that until I'm blue in the face.
And I'm with you. I'm with you on it being how he finishes the year. I think that's a huge – and that'll be our next segue about kind of their last few games, honestly. We can kind of break those down. But I think what you said is a great point. I don't see him leaving for a lot of reasons. I think Nebraska would not fire him in any universe except a universe where if there is some universe where we lost – the rest of our games, which that is not happening. That is, in my opinion, the only universe where Nebraska would even look at firing him. Yeah, I really think Nebraska finishes strong. I think because we're 5 and what's our record right now?
5-2.
5-2. Give me 6-2 beating Northwestern. Obviously, then we got Who do we have? Is it
USC.
is next?
I
USC
think
blackout
we
game.
beat USC.
I think we beat them. I don't think it's a game that we win handily. I think it's a game that goes back and forth and kind of punch for most of the all of the first half and a lot of the second half. But I think they win by 10-14 against USC. I really do, especially at home with that blackout crowd. And also, okay, this is not. No.
LeBron already hurt.
Okay. Smoke, it's good to see you. It's been like a year, but also LeBron. That's crazy. LeBron is hurt. LeBron is hurt. Shout out to the Warriors. Smoke is a fan from well beyond the arc, so he's a diehard Warriors.
Welcome in, Smoke. Welcome in.
Not big on my boy LeBron, but anyway.
Neither am I.
Well, come on. He played for your team at one point. Come on.
I'll give him credit for that, but after that, I haven't been a fan. He's just been a little whiny little bitch.
I'm not a big fan, but I will say we can get right back to talking college football. I am going to, which this was a really stupid purchase of mine, probably the most stupid purchase I've ever done. And
Let's hear it.
Just I'm not done paying for it yet. Anyways. I got a Christmas Day Lakers versus Rockets ticket in LA, so I'm going to be in LA on Christmas Day watching the Lakers versus the Rockets. Anyways, okay, yeah. You know what? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm a big Lakers fan.
LeBron sexual, what a term.
The Lakers are playing right now. I bet they're winning. But no, Smoke, it's great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It's good to always have a comment flowing through. And if you guys have anything, again, we're talking lots of Husker football right now. We'll talk a few other games after. But if there's anything you want us to talk about college football related, drop it in the comments. We will always cover it. But anyways, yeah, rules here to stay. I think we beat Northwestern. I think we beat USC. I think it's a close game, but I still think we win. And that could put us, 7-2? And then who do we have after USC? Is it UCLA?
So let's look at it. Let's look at it here, shall we? Yeah, we've got USC, and then we have to go to Pasadena to play UCLA.
We beat UCLA by 2 to 3 touchdowns, 2 to 3 scores. UCLA looks way better than they did. They were dead in the water at the beginning of the season and had a revival. I still don't think it's enough to beat a team like the Huskers. This is a theme tonight. The Huskers have more talent than UCLA, and that's a California team, and I would say we just have more talent that's at least working and showing up this season than UCLA. So we beat UCLA, and then do we go Penn State?
We play at Penn State the week after.
I think we lose that game. So that puts us, 8-3? I think we lose that game. Smoke says Rule's a good coach, but it all comes down to NIL, which I do agree. NIL rules football, but Nebraska's in a pretty good spot with NIL, I will say. We're not in a bad spot.
You're seeing a lot of the bigger time players for Nebraska getting NIL deals now. And Nebraska did make, or Matt Rule, did make, he had a quote I think it was at his local presser. It was on a Monday. It was the Monday after all these rumors started circulating. And he was talking about NIL. He's like, we've got everything here to be successful. Let's get the money in. He was talking about, the world of 20, 30, $40 million rosters to compete at the highest level. And I'm willing to bet that after he made that comment, 1890's phone was probably ringing off the blitz. And I'm pretty sure they're in a way better spot. Penn State is asked this year. Yes, they are,
though. So maybe, you know what? Hold on. I take it back.
I think before you go there.
I don't take it back, actually, either.
But I want to rattle off my prediction for the rest of the season because I did predict them to go 10-2. I did predict them to go 10-2 before the season started. The pathway is there to go 10-2.
I mean, it technically is, I suppose. 9-3, though.
You beat Northwestern. You beat USC at home. Beat UCLA. I think they beat Penn State because I think Penn State. Hold on, I got to see the remainder of their schedule here.
My
Uh,
only thing is, I think we lose to Penn State just because it's at home game for Penn State. I think Penn State
I
shows up.
I don't think so. And here's why. Let me pull up Penn State's schedule here. Penn State's got to play Ohio State on the first. They've got a bye week this week. Ohio State rolls Penn State
Yeah, they do.
because that's at the shoe.
Yeah, they get fucked. Yeah. Ooh,
Indiana goes to Penn State. Indiana's, oh, by the way, a good football team.
Indiana,
a really good football team. Like, they are a national title contender this year.
They really are, yeah.
Which is crazy to think that Indiana football is national title worthy, but here we are.
Yeah.
Indiana rolls against Penn State.
Yeah.
Penn State's will is done.
Is that, and then they play us?
So they play Indiana, then they go to Michigan State.
See,
and then they play Nebraska.
I think they beat Michigan State.
I don't.
Indiana is for real. Ryan Jorgensen says Indiana is for real. And last season,
they are for real.
I said they weren't for real. Did you say they weren't for real last year? I don't remember.
I was unsure. Going into this year. I'm like, are they going to be a one-year wonder? I didn't say it definitively either way.
We were both on the fence. You were on the fence. I might have said they're overrated, but they
you're the one that said they are overrated. Not to call you out or anything.
I don't remember. So hey, I don't know. We'll have to pull the clip up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're the one that said that they were overrated. Like going into this year, I was unsure. I'm like, were they a one-year wonder last year?
Definitely.
Did everything just fall into place? This year, they are a better football team than they were last year. I mean, they went into Eugene, Oregon, of all places, and pulled out a victory over a very good Oregon team. Very good Oregon team. And Indy ended up winning it by, I think, 9 points. Like, they're a damn good football team. Coach Cignetti has got everything rolling at Indiana right now.
He looks like one of the best coaches in all of college football. He really does. And so Indiana is for real. And again, if one of us did say that they were not it was me. And I was definitely wrong. That was one take I can say I was wrong about because last season, maybe not. Last season, I don't want to say – I mean, they
were good last year.
They were good, but they were not – they had a level of hype at one point in the season that I don't know if they were ready for. But this season, they've earned every level of hype, and they're one of the best teams. And they could be the Big Ten champion and the national champion possibly.
I mean, you look at it defensively, Indiana is so much better defensively this year. And then on offense, Fernando Mendoza is absolutely balling out at quarterback. And they've got a pretty good running back, as well as some really good receivers. Like, they are more complete this year. There's a reason why Indiana is the number 2 team in the country. Again, that is funny to say.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, Indiana's legit. Like, they have a really good shot at getting a bye in the playoff this year.
They're one of the most legit teams in the Big Ten. Like, they might be at this point, other than Ohio State. I think Ohio State, we can agree, has looked legit the whole season for the most part. I think, though, we can say Indiana right now is the most legit. And to segue really quickly, King Cal, yes, doing well beyond the arc will return. It was supposed to return, I think, yesterday, honestly, and then I just didn't get around to it. But as of now, it is David and I have not coordinated about a schedule, so I might do a solo show or do one with Jay for a few weeks. But I think next week is when we'll start back up. So, yeah, well beyond the arc will return. But anyways, and we'll talk about my co-host's favorite team, the Heat, and maybe they're going to make a little push this season. I don't know.
Although,
you know what? I don't know. How have they played yet? Do you know?
The
Lakers are playing right now. Let me look at this. Hold on. The Lakers are definitely losing to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, the Lakers are down 13-7 right now.
What are we doing?
Let's see. The Heat. Ooh, the Heat whooped up on the Grizzlies tonight. Let's go.
Luka is the only player that has scored for the Lakers.
The Heat ended up beating the Grizzlies tonight, 146-114.
That's a big win because the Grizzlies are decent, honestly. So you know what, man? We have never had too big of a problem with our NBA teams. They're not rivals. They're not anything. So I think we can coexist in the NBA.
I know this isn't an NBA show, but I've got to ask you this now that we're kind of on the topic.
Ask me.
Have you been reading any of the scandal that's going on?
Gosh,
It is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it is. Honestly, because the fact that it's been – are you talking about the gambling stuff, correct? I think the fact that it's players and coaches being – I think it is league-wide, and I think there's going to be a huge thing blown off of it because the fact that it's – I don't know. I think it's pretty widespread. I mean, obviously it's widespread. I think there's been widespread – there was stuff with Tim Donahue, whatever that referee's name was that used to there's been fixed whatever with the NBA. So the fact that there could be more, I'm not surprised, but it's interesting.
I heard something interesting off of one of the local talk shows that I listened to. And I'm actually for this take. He ended up saying they should just get rid of player props altogether. Keep the futures, keep the MVP bets or whatever. Get rid of player props because with that, there's going to be a lot less fixing of games because you're seeing players like Terry Rozier, who was famously a guard for the Heat, who got arrested.
Chauncey Phillips, is that who was the coach?
He was the Trailblazers coach, I believe. And you have Beasley. Beasley is getting investigated.
Oh my gosh. And I'm not surprised. He was a Laker at one point, and some of the shots he was putting up, I think I wouldn't doubt it.
Like you're having a lot of these guys, and they were the coach for the Trailblazers, one other player, and then Terry Rozier. They were all arrested, and it was very coordinated. It was all at 6 a.m.
It's crazy.
And now they're looking at facing hefty jail time for all of it because not only was it the, betting, the player props and stuff like that, but these people were in on poker games, illegal poker games that
it goes deep.
I know we're getting off the college football segue, but I just find it interesting to talk about.
Oh yeah, it is.
Because these illegal poker games, the mob and, these celebrities were suckering in, other people, basically saying, hey, you have an opportunity to play poker with celebrities.
Yeah.
And there was one off the cuff that lost $1.8 million through these poker games.
Jeez.
Like, it is absolutely disgusting. It is like it's full on money laundering at this point.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like you're talking federal prison for a long period of time. Not to mention you got to pay this money back.
Yeah. Hey, as long as none of the Lakers are involved, I'm good. But I wouldn't be shocked if
we're gonna see a major shockwave. I have a feeling of more players and potentially more coaches, maybe not head coaches, but maybe assistant coaches and stuff that were maybe on this.
I'm shocked there's no ref. There's been nothing with reffing since because I feel like that's still very not exactly like the same as it was maybe, but I feel like that's definitely something still.
They need to do away with player props. They need to do away with player point totals.
Agreed.
Whether a player's going to finish under or over 20.5 points, do away with all that. Do away with, the assist and blocks, and you can keep it to where you can bet futures.
Yeah.
Is Jimmy Butler going to win the MVP? You can put that prop in with their sports book. Do away with the rest of the player props because in turn that is ruining everything else with the game. You're going to see more people get in trouble for this. This digs way deeper.
Yeah, it does. I agree. I think I think there's going to be a lid blown off. I think we're going to see a lot more players and a lot more people get in trouble. So kind of a throwback. And some of our viewers, a lot of the people that might be on here right now,
Connor and Heffern show.
We used to do Connor and Heffern show and talk all sports, including NBA. We still did mainly football. It was college and pro football heavy, but we talked all sports. So that's kind of a fun throwback. But touching back on the Huskers, again, I think, like you started to say, the path to 10-2 is possible.
Yes.
I think we drop the Penn State game. To me, we either drop Penn State and we drop Iowa, and I don't think we drop Iowa at this point. But also, I could be wrong and we get both. The question is, if we go 10-2, is that good enough to make it to the postseason?
I think so. It depends on how you win these games. If you go 10-2, that means you're winning the remainder of your games. You're winning the remainder of your 5 games left. You'll be in the top 25. There's a good chance you're in the top 4 in the conference at that point because you'll have a 7-2 record.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten. In my opinion, if you're in the top 4 in the Big Ten, there's a really good shot that you're getting in. If you don't get in, you're on the outside, just on the outside looking in.
Indiana's number 2.
They are number 2.
I have football on the TV and it just showed the standings. I did not know that. That's insane.
But I want to break down Penn, because we were talking about Penn State.
Yeah.
I think Penn State's will is absolutely lost.
Yeah,
it
looks like it.
You lose a heartbreaker to Oregon in 2 overtimes. You had the lead in overtime against Oregon. We're super close to pulling that off. They didn't do it. They then go on the road to Penn or UCLA, and UCLA plays their best game of the year against Penn State.
Maybe in more than a year, honestly. It was insane.
I mean, UCLA, Penn State's defense could not stop what UCLA was doing.
No, not at all.
They then lose at home to Northwestern, which was an awful loss.
Oh, my God.
Because they were, I think going into that game, they were 25.5-point favorites. And they end up losing that game.
Yeah.
They then, after Franklin got fired, another game where they had a lead against Iowa, and Iowa ended up pulling it out. They have to go to Ohio State. That game is going to get ugly. Ohio State's a way better football team at this point than Penn State is. Now, if you would have asked me going into this season, I would have said Penn State, Ohio State, that's going to be a hell of a ball game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But now that their coach is gone and they've lost 4 straight games, that game's going to get ugly. Yeah. The game against Indiana at home could get ugly.
Yeah.
Indiana could win that game by 2+ scores. Easy. With the way that they're playing.
Agreed.
They have to go to Michigan State, which, by the way, Michigan State's a relatively tough place to play because the stands are literally right on top of the field. It gets super loud.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State, I would not be shocked if Michigan State pulled that game out.
Yeah.
And then they play Nebraska, which, depending on how Nebraska's playing over the next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, if Nebraska's going in rolling, Nebraska could win that game easy.
True, they could. It depends on where Penn State and Nebraska are at, honestly.
And then Rutgers. Penn State goes to Rutgers. I'm gonna give Penn State the win against Rutgers because it's Rutgers.
Damn.
But
so wait, do you have them losing out the rest of their games
until Rutgers?
Oh, you said they are winning Rutgers. Okay, I missed Rutgers.
I have them losing the next 4 games.
Jeez. Hey, first, I hope you're right.
There's a really good possibility, especially with the way, I've watched Penn State the last few weeks. The way that they have played, this is a 4-8 football team. And it's kind of funny. For Nebraska to win, they have to control the trenches and run the ball, which I think they can do on Penn State. I 100% agree.
I hope
If they get Emmett Johnson touches, Emmett Johnson's got to have 20 plus touches that game.
Dude is electric. Dude is insane.
Like Penn State right now, they can't stop anything.
No,
Their defense is not good.
True.
Going into this year, they were really good. I mean, against Oregon, they had flashes of being really good. But then something happened. That UCLA game happened, and they can't stop anything. So, again, like if Nebraska is rolling into that game hot against Penn State, Nebraska is probably going to be at a 10.5 to 15-point favorite over Penn State at that point, most likely. There's going to be no home field advantage for Penn State that game.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. Because especially if they lost, 3 straight going in, you're talking about a 3-7 football team. Like, their will is going to be lost.
I would not have predicted Penn State being a 3-7 football team.
No, they were preseason number 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I will say this, because I will say it's very valid. Franklin has not won a lot of big marquee games, so I did not think they were going to keep where they were at, but I still thought they were going to be a potential playoff team by this point of the season. I thought they were going to be at least a team in the mix, and they're not. They're out of it. So I do also agree. I still need to see how we perform the next few games before Penn State, before I change my mind. But I think if we perform like I know we can against Northwestern, and then against, USC and then UCLA, I do truly believe that we could, if we win the next 3 out, which I think we will, there is a great chance, because Penn State, very well, they play 2 games before, right? They play us. Is that correct?
They play 3 games. They play at Ohio State, they play Indiana, and then they play Michigan State.
So I think they go 1-2 in those. I do think they beat Michigan State. So I think the game, Penn State versus Nebraska, will be a good game. I think it will be an exciting game, but I do think Nebraska has a good chance of winning, even if they're coming off of a Michigan State win. I
honestly think, in my honest opinion, that Minnesota game was kind of a wake-up call for this team.
You hope so.
Everybody hopes so, but I really do think, after listening to them this week in their pressers, this team is focused.
Yeah,
they are locked in. They are taking this game they're taking the season one game at a time. Every single team that they face is a nameless, faceless opponent. That is one of my favorite terms to throw around. And that's how the team needs to go at it. They need to not look at the name on the side of the helmet or on the jersey and just go in and say that they're going to win this damn football game.
Absolutely.
If you do that, you're going to be in a good spot. And with Nebraska, you got Northwestern, USC, UCLA. There's a good shot they can go 2-1 there, but there's also a really good shot that they can go 3-0.
True.
I mean, USC's defense cannot stop the run. They can't. Notre Dame ran the ball for, I think, over 300 yards on USC's defense. There are a lot of holes there. And, I mean, Nebraska went to USC last year, and they were gashing USC's defense for the large part of that game. Absolutely gashing USC's defense. Nebraska's going to be able to move the ball. If Nebraska can get their defense figured out to where they can fit the run a lot better, Nebraska is going to be in a really good spot, because Nebraska, oh, by the way, still has one of the top pass defenses in the country. So force teams to throw the ball over you, and you're in a really good spot.
Absolutely.
And Northwestern is one of those teams that make them throw the ball. You cannot allow them to get 4 yards a carry tomorrow. You can't. You got to keep them to 2-yard gains. 1 to 2 yard gains, or tackle them behind the sticks. You do that, you're in a good spot, and Nebraska's winning this game by 3+ touchdowns. But yeah, I have Nebraska still finishing 10-2. I really do. I think they are that good of a football team to go do that. I think they've got the talent to do that. Over the next 5 games, all 5 of these games are very much so winnable.
They are.
I don't care how UCLA is playing the last few weeks. That game is still winnable.
Absolutely.
If you can get into Nico Iamaleava's head that game, you're going to be in a good spot. And then Penn State, Drew Aller's out the rest of the year. They're without their starting quarterback. I forgot to mention that earlier. Drew Aller's hurt. I think he tore an ACL. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? So, I mean, everything is pointing. If everything points in the direction that it should, Nebraska should be going into that Iowa game at 9-2. So that's kind of, that's my breakdown. I do think Nebraska is going to finish the season out strong, and it'll set up for a really good 2026.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the future is extremely bright for Nebraska, and I think that's not something we have to say like. I think they could still have an extremely successful finish to this season, but I think next season they're just going to continue to improve and look better, and that's what Matt Rule has done for these college football teams he's been a part of. And so I am excited. I am definitely hopeful for the future, but I'm also hopeful that we finish the season out like I know we can. So it all starts tomorrow with that 11 a.m. Northwestern game, and I think we pull off a 2-3 to maybe 4-score win. I think it'll be it's a home game. It's before our blackout game. I think it's going to be a game that people are going to show up for. So I'm excited. We do have a few other games we're going to break down before we finish our show that are not Husker football related. What are some of the games that you're wanting to talk about that are not Husker football related tonight?
I've got kind of a sneaky one here. I want to kick this off at 11 a.m. tomorrow. UCLA and Indiana. It's the big noon kickoff game on Fox. UCLA is coming into that game red hot. Indiana is also red hot. The big question is UCLA going to be good enough to keep pace with a really good Indiana team? I think this game has an opportunity to be more interesting than people give it credit for. I get it, UCLA is 3-4, but they're on a 3-game winning streak now, and they're 3-1 in the Big Ten. Like, they're tied for second place in the Big Ten right now. Like, this game, it's at 11 a.m. It's potentially going to be a very sleepy game at 11 a.m. Indiana is the favorite by 26.5 points. Give me your prediction for this game. Do you think UCLA could potentially pull off another major upset?
I think as much as the storyline would hold up because of how UCLA has looked against their last couple of opponents, Indiana's too legit. Indiana has earned their ranking. I mean, you guys saw my reaction live tonight to figuring out that they were second. I did not realize they were that high. I knew they were top 6, did not realize they were second. Thing is, they look second. They look like a team that could be truly considered in the top 5. So for me, Indiana wins. Indiana wins. I think it's going to be like a 14-35 or 42 game. I think Indiana wins pretty handily. I think it's close in the first quarter. I think it's going to be a really competitive game at first where UCLA maybe punches Indiana in the mouth and scores early. But I think Indiana handles business and wins by 4 to 5 scores, honestly. I do, maybe 3 scores, but I just think the UCLA might have a decent finish to their season, at least better than what it looked like they were going to finish. That's not going to be a win against Indiana, though. So, yeah, give me Indiana winning pretty handily.
I've also got Indiana, but I got it really close. I've got Indiana winning this one 35-31. I do think Nico is playing some pretty good football right now for UCLA. And he leads the team in rushing yards too, which is kind of crazy. He has 360 rushing yards on the year. I do think if Nico has the ability to use his legs, I do think there's stuff there to take advantage of on that Indiana defense. Indiana's got to play disciplined on defense and keep Nico at bay if they want to pull away from UCLA at any point this game. I think, though, being that it's an 11 a.m. kick, I do think UCLA makes things interesting against Indiana this week.
Again, you know what? UCLA is a team that has been making things interesting against a lot of teams and winning. This has been in the form of winning against a lot of them. Now, do I think neither of us have UCLA pulling it off, but I can definitely see your prediction. I can see it being a closer ball game. That's maybe a little more exciting because UCLA has looked exponentially better. And while Indiana is one of the best teams in the nation, UCLA has a little bit of fight in them. You can tell they've got some fight in them, and I think we will see that. Another 11 a.m. game that's interesting is number 8 Ole Miss versus number 13 Oklahoma. Oklahoma, honestly, has been a team that has been a little mediocre the last few years, and I think this is the best they have looked. And I think they could be a sneaky college football playoff team that makes a pretty deep push. I don't have them winning at all, but I think they could have a pretty big push. Yeah. And I think that starts with a win over Ole Miss. I think they beat Ole Miss, but I think it is a 3 to 7 point win. It's an all-out. It's a shootout, and I think it goes down to the wire. But what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I don't think it's going to be a shootout at all. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. Oklahoma comes in bolstering the number 1 overall defense in the country this year. I think they're going to be able to slow down Ole Miss a little bit. Ole Miss has a high-powered offense. Give me Oklahoma winning this one, though, 24-17. I do think it hits the under. The over-under right now is 51.5, according to ESPN Bet Sportsbook. If I were heading to the sportsbook right now, I would heavily push the under, and I would bet the Oklahoma Sooners minus the 5.5. I do think Oklahoma's defense potentially makes a huge play in this game, whether it be a pick six or what, or just getting an interception or a fumble to put their offense in good field position. I do think Oklahoma's defense is legit. I do think they have enough to slow down the number 8 Ole Miss Rebels.
I do agree. I think I don't know. I think that it could be a game that's lower scoring. I still think, I don't know, Oklahoma looks super solid. I think this could potentially be one of the most exciting games of the weekend. It all depends on how it starts, because I think either one of these teams could gain massive control early depending on how they play. So it's all about a lot of these games with these marquee teams and these teams that are ranked and these teams that are higher ranked. It's about who can come out with the best start, who can have the best start to the game. Obviously, it's about how you finish. That's important. But how you start when you're playing against a team that's ranked is super important. So I think that could be a super, super interesting game. Another interesting game, Alabama, number 4 Alabama versus South Carolina. Obviously, Alabama is looking pretty great at 6-1 at this point in the season and kind of putting some of the doubters to rest, I would say, in certain areas. South Carolina is 3-4, so that record isn't super glamorous, but you never know. But I will say this. The main reason I'm bringing this game up isn't even to talk about the game, is to talk about Alabama and ask you how legit you think they are at this point in the season. I will say on my end, they look a lot better and a lot more polished than what I thought early in the season. Even some of their victories early in the season did not look very polished. They look like a team that could make some noise and could be a team that maintains a top 6 to 8 ranking for the rest of the season. So I think they take care of business, but they've shown holes ever since Saban left. They've shown it's been a transition. It's been a change. It's been something that's taken time to build up. And I still think we're seeing that. We're still seeing the effects of that and the effects of that legacy change. And so I still am not super convinced, but with where they're at this season right now, I think they take care of business against South Carolina, and I think they keep rolling and finish a top 6 to 8. And maybe they are, what did I say, they're fourth right now. Maybe they keep their rank or finish higher. I think they finish somewhere like 4 to 6 is kind of what I'm thinking they might finish. What are your thoughts? Are they legit? Do they get beat by South Carolina, upset? What are your thoughts on Alabama?
I think Alabama beats South Carolina big tomorrow. Ty Simpson is playing like a Heisman Trophy candidate. And he's got a really good receiver in Jeremy Bernard as well. 33 receptions, 472 yards, 5 touchdowns. Alabama's offense is playing at a very high level right now. So is their defense. Their defense, too, is playing pretty good football as well. I think Alabama is a legit national championship contender this year. I mean, you look back on that Florida State game. After that game, everybody wrote them off. But ever since then, they've been playing some really good football. I mean, Alabama just, they've beaten Tennessee. They've beaten Missouri, who, by the way, Missouri is a pretty good football team as well. They whooped up on Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's a top 10 team in the country this year. They're sitting at number 10. They beat Georgia, and they whooped up on Wisconsin. That was their last 5 games. Alabama's legit. Like, if you're going to point out a legit team in the SEC to potentially win it all, I think Alabama is your pick. I don't think Georgia is anywhere near the same as they were, back in 2022.
Agreed.
When they bolstered the number 1 offense and defense in the country. But yeah, again, Georgia's still a good football team. But Alabama, I think, is just a whole other level in the SEC. I think there's one legit team in the SEC this year that could potentially win it all. They might get 3, 4. There's some people even saying 5 teams into the playoff. But I think only one team wins it in the SEC. If anybody's going to win, it's going to be Alabama.
Agreed. I'm with you. This is the thing. Alabama was not that team last year. Both of us agreed. We don't argue on this show, but we do have very different takes at certain points, and usually you're the one that has the correct take. But Alabama, we had a very similar take on them not being super legit last year and not being a team that we thought could really make it all the way in a playoff scenario. Now, looking at this year, they're a way different team, and they really are a team. And I said this earlier about Nebraska. You've got to be able to bounce back. You've got to be able to be a team that can make that big change and bounce back after a disappointing loss. Alabama did that. Whatever you want to say about that head coach, he's no Saban, he's no whatever. He is legit. He is a great coach, and I do truly believe he is going to be a coach that boosts them and brings them back to a national championship situation. Do I think it's guaranteed they win a championship with him as the coach with how much talent is in college football? No, but I think that that's a coach that will keep them in the mix as long as he is there, and I'm excited to see what happens. Again, I do think Alabama takes care of business, and I think Alabama just continues to look better throughout the rest of this season. We talked about Vanderbilt. Speaking of Vanderbilt, they're looking really good right now. They're number 10, and they take on number 15 Missouri at 2:30. I will say this right now: Missouri 6-1, Vanderbilt 6-1. They've played very different opponents. Not that I mean, they've both played very talented opponents, but they've played, I don't know, they've had very different games. That's how I should say it. Maybe not they've played very different opponents. They've had very different wins. They've had very different games. These are 2 very different looking teams. I think Missouri wins. I think Missouri is a sleeper this season. I think Missouri, as much as we've seen both last season, seasons before, we've seen holes in their team, and even this season, you could argue. I think Missouri looks legit to me, and I think they beat Vanderbilt tomorrow. I don't think it is a blowout. I don't think it is a game that is crazy big difference, but I think Missouri wins, and I think what Missouri can do, to me, watching those games, a few of their games, they can kind of control pace and figure it out in the second half, and I think that they can do that. I mean, Vanderbilt, their ranking looks great. They've had some great wins, but I think Missouri is the better team and the far superior team, and I think we'll see that. So I think Missouri will win, and I think they will win the second half, and that's how they'll win. So give me Missouri winning.
I've got Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I really
Close or far?
I like what Vanderbilt has and Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is a really good quarterback. He is balling out.
What year is he? Do you know?
I don't know what year he might be a senior this year.
He's fun to watch. He's really fun to watch.
Yeah, Diego Pavia is one of the best college football quarterbacks in the country. I mean, he has 1,569 yards passing. He also leads the team in rushing with 438 yards. So not only is he dangerous through the air, he's dangerous with the legs too. So he's a dual threat. And I really like I like their team. I like the chip that they're playing with each and every week. I mean, you look at the win against LSU, you know, they were the favorite over a top 10 LSU team for the first time since like the 1960s. Like that was that long ago that they were a favorite over a top 10 LSU team or the favorite over LSU in general. And they ended up pulling that one out. They kind of got killed by Alabama. But I mean, they've looked really good in their other games that they have played.
Yeah.
I've got Vanderbilt winning this one by 10 points.
Wow.
Give me Vanderbilt winning this one 31-21.
I like that take. I can see that because Vanderbilt is a pretty legit looking team, and that quarterback is a huge reason why. And usually it is very historically accurate that a quarterback being at that level is a huge reason for team success on any level, high school, pro, college. The quarterback is such an important position as the leader, as a lot of different things. So for me, that is the indicator of a really solid team. And then it stretches beyond just the quarterback. Vanderbilt is a solid team. I think, again, Missouri to me is going to be a sleeper in the postseason. I just have a feeling. Maybe it's another feeling that's incorrect, but it could be right this time. But I think Missouri pulls it off. I think I'm going to flip it. I'm going to take your same exact score, but flip it and say that's the same exact score that Missouri wins by. I think it's close, but again, Missouri, I think, can take care of business and handle it and handle the pressure of closing out a game against a team like a Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt is one of the best looking teams right now. Within the last few weeks, I think we could probably both agree that they're one of the better looking teams right now in the country. And so that will continue tomorrow, but I still think give me them losing, just because I think Missouri to me is a polished team that looks really solid, but I could be wrong.
I'm giving them home field advantage because it is at Vanderbilt.
Fair, which is
that
fair.
place is going to be rocking.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, true. That is true. I will give you that.
I don't know if it's going to be so much a hot take, but I think Diego Pavia has a Heisman moment tomorrow. I really do. I think Pavia has a Heisman moment.
I think win or lose, he does. I can agree. Win or lose, I think he does. I think win, you have more of a Heisman moment because having that big player, that big statistical performance, and the win, oh shoot, there we go, makes it all the more sweeter. But I think win or lose, Pavia, he has that moment. So I'm excited, bro. That's one of the games that I'm the most excited for. I don't think we can talk about football and talk about a week of football if we don't talk about it's maybe not one of the more marquee matchups ranking wise, but it's Michigan versus Michigan State. Michigan, the real question I have for you is this. Michigan is currently 25th. Michigan is kind of in a Nebraska situation because Michigan State is not a very good team. Michigan State is not as good as Minnesota. I'm going to say that right now. But Michigan State is a team that can compete, and with it being against a team in their own state, a team that's they've got a little bit of bad blood in certain matchups. I think Michigan State beats them. I think Michigan State beats Michigan, and Michigan loses their ranking. Michigan, despite the win against Nebraska, because obviously that was a good-looking win for them because of the hype that both teams had going into it. It made them look like they were the superior team. Not really, because Nebraska, again, did not roll over by any means in that game. But Michigan has looked good, but I think Michigan State wins. Call it an upset. I would say that's probably could be considered an upset just because Michigan State has not looked like a solid enough team overall for the season. I mean, their record is what is their record?
3-4.
3-4. So I mean, they're not the worst team, but they're definitely not the best team. And I think that their record doesn't show how good they'll play against Michigan, and I think they'll beat Michigan. I do think it'll be close. I think it'll be determined by a field goal. Give me a game that's determined by a field goal. What would that be? 38-35. Is that what that would be? Or 30?
Yeah.
Give me 38-35. I mean, that's maybe a little high scoring. I don't know if Michigan State can pull off that many points against Michigan, but I think it's a higher scoring game that Michigan wins by a field goal, or Michigan State, wins by a field goal.
I think Michigan wins this one by 17 points. Michigan State has not looked really good.
Two very opposite takes on this one.
Yes, I think Michigan actually wins this one pretty big.
Okay.
I like Michigan's defense for the most part. I do think they're pretty stingy, especially in the linebacker spot. And then I like Michigan running the football against Michigan State's defense. Michigan State's defense the last couple of weeks hasn't been able to stop anything.
True.
And Michigan has a pretty good running back tandem as well.
Yeah.
They have Haynes, who I believe is their leading rusher, and then want to say it's Marshall. Let me pull that up real quick. But they have a really good running back tandem right now. I don't think Michigan State's going to be able to stop it. Yeah, Jordan Marshall. They've got Jordan Marshall, and then they got Justice Haynes. Justice Haynes, I think, is second in the Big Ten in rushing yards. And then Marshall is also a pretty solid, running back to dish the rock out to. Michigan State's not going to stop Michigan's run game. I think this is a game where Michigan runs the ball for over 250 yards, and I think they control the line of scrimmage the whole day.
We shall see.
Give me Michigan big.
I can see it. I can see it. Listen, again, this is coming from the guy that last year said the 76ers. This is not a football take. I said the 76ers were going to go on a run, and then I think they finished like 13th or 12th in the East. So I have given poor takes across all sports, but I do have a feeling, just because for me, Michigan is good, they're not great. Michigan State, I think, pulls the victory off and has a good game. And this is a side note, because I don't know if you have any other games you want to list off, let me know. But
one more.
Before we go to that, I want to shout out Hawaii. Bull bound. They're going bowling before the Huskers are even going bowling, which come on. I mean, we're not gonna look at their opponents versus
Hey, Mountain West is way different than the Big Ten.
I know. We're not gonna look at that or acknowledge that, because it's obvious that it's a difference. I'm just proud of that team. I wish I would have lived there when they actually were that good. So
what did I say before the season even started on our pregame show? I said that Hawaii may be pretty good.
They look good. How many, before we go into that game, how many wins? Who do they, you know what? I can pull it up. I want to see their schedule for the rest of the season because I am curious. Now, some of their wins, again, have been against Mountain West opponents or even not Mountain West opponents, weaker opponents, but they've looked really good. Did my phone just disappear? I don't know where it went. Maybe you can find the schedule quicker than I can.
Yeah, I'm on it. They have a bye week this week.
No football this week. They just had a pretty nice win who was it? Oh, Colorado State, I think is who they beat.
Mountain West.
Hawaii football.
There's Hawaii right there.
So they play
Hawaii finishes the season with San Jose State, San Diego State, UNLV, and Wyoming.
I think they could win out. Maybe they lose to UNLV, but I think they could win out.
I think they finish 9-3. I think they lose to that UNLV. I think UNLV is pretty sneaky. UNLV is 6-1.
Yeah.
And they were a lot of people's picks in potentially being the group of 5 team to make the playoff.
They do look really good. They do. I think that's the loss. I do think that's the loss. And that's the game I saw live last year. And I'm not a Hawaii fan like that. I mean, I have actually watched more Hawaii football than I have Husker football. I can't believe I'm saying that, but this year it's true.
And I'm just going to say this, San Diego State's also kind of sneaky too.
Yeah, that could be a loss. So maybe they win 8. Either way, they're going bowling, and that's for the first time in a few years. First time in their new coaches. I don't know how long the coach has been there, but their coach they have now, it's his first bowl, and they just it's been fun to see them look better than what they've looked like. So shout out to Hawaii, but what is your game you want to cover for tomorrow?
It's another game at 2:30. Number 11 BYU goes to Ames, Iowa to play Iowa State. This is my upset special of the week. I like Rocco Becht and Iowa State in this one. I think it's going to be a pretty good home crowd for Iowa State this year. BYU's got to travel a pretty good distance to go to Ames. So
that makes a big difference. People don't talk about that enough.
Give me Iowa State in this one. Close. 24-21. I think Iowa State kicks a late game field goal to win it.
I like it.
What are your thoughts?
I like it so much that I agree with you, which we have actually had a lot of takes that we've agreed with for the most part. But I think this is one I can definitely agree with because I think for me, I have a feeling it will be a close one. Regardless of how it's cut up, I think it's a close one. But I definitely think it's an upset. Iowa State is a better team than I think some of their games this season have shown. They've been a pretty consistent team that has had star power, that has stayed pretty relevant. So I think they prove that they're that team. So I'm with you. I think that'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. I'm taking, which we agree a lot. I don't know if we've had the same exact score prediction that often. I'm taking the same score prediction though. I think I have to go with it because I just think that's how this game goes. Maybe I could cut it by a touchdown or by it swapped and the field goal's on the other end. But I think give me Iowa State for sure. And then I do have a question. I know I said I didn't have any other games, but I have one more just because of the storyline attached to it. Colorado is playing Utah. And Colorado, obviously, Deion Sanders, pretty flashy coach, pretty out there on social media, just pretty marketed in a lot of ways, and just definitely gave Colorado a lot of relevance that they did not have. And they had a 8 or 9 win season.
They had a 9-win season last year.
9-win season looked pretty good. It's the Big 12. I mean, let's be real. It's the Big 12. We've got to be honest. The Big 12 is not – I mean, if the Huskers win the Big 12, they'd win 9 games pretty easily, pretty handily, I would say. But all of that aside, Colorado came into this year with – for me, I thought they had enough talent and enough there to look a little better than what they looked so far this season. Had they won 4 games? They've won 3. Are they 3-4? I believe they're 3-4.
They're 3-4.
This is what I will say. On my end, before I get to you and ask your opinion on this, I think Colorado gets to 6. I think Colorado wins 7 games this year. Give me Colorado winning 7. They go to a bowl game. But my question to you is, what is Deion Sanders' future with this team? Does he stay past this year, or do you think he will leave, especially if they're only a 6 or 7 win team?
Here's the crazy thing. I don't have them winning 6 or 7 games this year.
You have them winning 8. I'm just kidding. You have them winning 5.
I have them finishing out with maybe one more win on the year. I have them finishing 4-8.
Oh my gosh! So in that case, is that it?
I don't think Deion Sanders lasts past this offseason. I really don't. Especially you look at last year. They had a lot of hype, and they were a good team for a large point in that game, or a large point in the season. They got their asses beat against Nebraska, which I'm happy I was able to go to that game. That was an electric atmosphere.
Dude, I'm so jealous. That is the one game I would give up any other game I've been to go to that one. Seriously.
It was bad. The crowd was just on Colorado's throat the whole game. Even when Nebraska was up 28-0, the game was just as loud when they were up 28-0 as it was when it kicked off.
Well, Colorado had been talking too, and it had been very they thought they were going to run us.
Oh yeah, they were talking, and they ate their words
quickly too.
Yeah, so I don't think Colorado's very good. They've struggled mightily this year.
Is there win against Utah? Is that who you think they could win against?
No, I think Utah controls this game pretty handily. I think Utah wins this game by 20 points. I don't think it's going to be very close. I like Utah, man. I really do like Utah this year.
Utah looks good.
I mean, they lost close in the Holy War against BYU last week. But, I mean, they got Colorado at home. And Devin Dampier, their quarterback, is balling out right now. I mean, he's a really good quarterback. And they run the rock very efficiently, too. Devin Dampier, we talked about quarterbacks who are leading the teams in their respected teams in rushing. Dampier has 442 yards rushing, as well as almost 1,400 yards passing. He's a true dual threat. Utah's defense is really good. They're only giving up 15.3 points a game. That's good for 12th in the country in scoring defense. Their offense is averaging close to 37 points a game, which is tied for 20th in the country. Utah's the more complete team. I don't think Colorado's got anything for them. In fact, I think it's just one more check mark that the Colorado AD can make in terms of potentially firing Deion at the end of the year.
So do you think he's fired or he leaves?
I think fired. I think he gets fired before he truly leaves.
Yikes. What a bad ending to a not very good story, because they were never that great. Would they make a bowl game? Would that be a bowl game 1 out of 3 years?
Yeah.
Not that successful.
They went 4-8 the first season. They famously started off the season really hot. Going into the week against Nebraska. They rolled Nebraska, and then I think they lost most every game after that. And then last year they got their asses beat against Nebraska, but they ended up finishing the season relatively hot. It was kind of a polar opposite. Last season, they finished with 9 wins in the regular season. They finished 9-3. They ended up finishing the season 9-4 after getting their asses kicked against BYU in the bowl game. So yeah, things are not good in Colorado. That's all I can say.
No, they're not. They look the worst they've looked, honestly, since he's been there. I mean, their first year It wasn't great, but it still looked better than this. So I can see that happening. I think on my end, I think it could be a better game. It could be closer than what, I mean, I'm not pulling too much hope for them because of how they've looked in every one of their games, even their wins.
They've looked
But
awful.
yeah, they have. They've looked very incomplete, but I think they have a chance. But I think Utah beats them. I think they still will get to 6 or 7 wins and get a bowl game, but maybe that still ends in a Dion exit. And who knows what that means for the Bulls, almost the Bulls. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who knows what that means for the Buffs? Excuse me. Who knows what that means for the Buffs? Who knows what that means for Dion if he'd go to another college team, pro? What that would mean. But I'm with you. I think there's a better chance that he's fired or leaves than that he stays. But on the one weird off chance that they have a really hot finish, maybe they do run it back and look even stronger next year. But they've just never looked complete enough of a team. It's always been very media.
It's been disjointed.
Yeah, it's never been, and like the way their transfer portal has looked, which the transfer portal now in general is a mess, but the way theirs has looked with players coming and going, it's not a good look. I don't think Dion is a bad coach. I've seen a lot of things that make me think he's a good coach in a lot of ways, but I just don't think I don't know. I think he should have left after his sons left, which that would have been a little more ridiculous because that would have been 2 years and that wouldn't have looked much better. But I just don't know how good it looks to be in the position he is now. So anyways, that's the other game I wanted to talk about, but we will be obviously back. We will try to be back more consistent. There's plenty more college football left, plenty more weeks of football left, but we will definitely try to be more consistent with our shows. And we will also probably not be at night again, or at least very consistent. This is just because of our schedules. But you can always catch us, whether it is at night or in the morning, on the Yankee and the Brit YouTube channel, and you can catch us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if that's where you listen. Also on the Yankee and the Brit, if you look it up, it'll come up tagged with that. Are there any other games or topics you want to talk about tonight, or do you think that?
I think a lot of the other topics can wait till next episode. But I think we covered most everything that we wanted to cover tonight. Again, appreciate you guys for coming in and watching. It's good to be back. Good to see some familiar faces in chat. And yeah, let's get this thing rolling, hopefully weekly.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see. It's on my end. I was the reason we took so long, so that's my bad. I had a lot of weekends busy with coaching, but we'll be consistent because again, now that we've done it at night, if we need to do it at night a few more times that we can, but we'll definitely be back whenever that is, and I'll make sure to post it and plug it. But this has been great as always. We will definitely try to be back soon, probably within the next week. Honestly, we'll probably have a show if it works for our schedule, but if not, we'll definitely be back, and we won't be gone too long. But plenty more football to talk about, so I'm excited because there's a lot that could still happen.
Absolutely. Again, thank you guys all for watching and listening, and we will see you guys next time.